A huge storm is coming to the United States this week, and this will bring a bunch of different problems, including a risk for significant severe weather, high winds across much of the United States, blizzard conditions for some, and much colder weather. So in today's forecast, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be impacting the United States over the next 7 days, and we'll begin with what's happening across the country this morning, and we've actually had a large storm ongoing in the southeast over the last 24 hours with our low pressure center currently over Mississippi. A few showers and thunderstorms have been erupting in Florida even this morning, and we've had some severe weather at times, but generally speaking, this has not been anything more than just some rain and a little bit of damaging winds out of this. There's actually a low-end risk for tornadoes later this afternoon back over in eastern Florida, so just stay weather aware between about 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. today. Back over in the northern plains, we have a small Alberta clipper that is going to bring some snowfall mainly to northern Minnesota and also back into Canada. And if you're anywhere down in the southwest or southern plains, it is dry as can be for now, but some of you are going to see a lot of rain as we go later into this week. We have a bunch to talk about today with this huge storm, and one of the biggest problems that's going to come out of it is the risk of severe weather. And the Storm Prediction Center for Friday has now upgraded areas in the mid-Mississippi River Valley to now an enhanced risk of severe weather. This is mainly for Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, and back into Missouri and Illinois. The main concern here will be damaging winds, large hail, and the potential even for strong tornadoes. And the slight risk is all the way back up into Wisconsin and even eastern Iowa. You don't see that very often for the middle of March, but nonetheless, we are talking about a large area for severe weather. You're going to want to make sure on Friday that you have multiple ways to receive alerts and have a tornado action plan ready to go if you're anywhere in this region. I would only expect this area to get larger when it comes to our general risk of severe weather as well, which is our marginal risk. That is a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. As we go into Saturday, the risk of severe weather will shrink a little bit. It'll move further to the east as well, mainly impacting areas in the Ohio Valley and back into the Dixie Alley. We also now have an enhanced risk of severe weather in place in parts of Mississippi and as well as Alabama, where more damaging winds, hail, and strong tornadoes will be in play. 2 very favorable days for severe weather are ahead. Make sure that you're weather aware on both Friday and Saturday in these areas. Now let's talk more about this huge storm that'll be coming to the United States later this week. We'll begin with what's happening out there today. Again, showers and storms will continue in the southeast over the next several hours, and a small Alberta clipper will continue to move through Canada over the next 48 hours with some snow showers. It will bring a little bit of rain activity to New England as we go into tomorrow. By the time we go into Tuesday night, there will be some showers across Southern California, mainly around Los Angeles. By the way, there was a 4.1 magnitude earthquake just west of Los Angeles yesterday. If you felt that, leave a comment down below. As we go into Wednesday morning, we'll continue to watch showers across the west coast with some snow in the higher elevations. This will lead to some pretty significant snowfall accumulation in the Sierra Nevada from Wednesday through Saturday. We could see some spots over 4 feet of snow. The west coast of California will pick up several inches of rain. Most areas at least around 1 to 3 inches of rain on Wednesday and Thursday. As we go into Thursday night and into Friday, we'll have another shot of rain and snow on the west coast, while that big storm system will move over the Rockies, which is going to create a lot of mixing of both warm and cold air, and this is going to lead to a huge storm system as we go into Friday across the Great Plains with a very strong low pressure system. The European model is bringing this down into the 970s in terms of millibars, which is a very strong barometric pressure that we're going to be talking about in the Great Plains, which will lead to widespread wind gusts across a large chunk of the Great Plains on Friday, ranging from 40 to 65 miles per hour. There could even be some areas with wind gusts as high as 75 miles per hour, and that does not include the risk for severe weather, which, by the way, does appear as if it will be significant for some of us during the daytime on Friday. And so one of the main areas that I think will have a great concentration of severe weather on Friday will be in Missouri, Arkansas, and also into the deep south, where there could be some significant severe weather in this region, as our wind shear is really going to be strong, it looks like, in the lower Mississippi River Valley, in addition to a lot of instability, and the moisture content appears to be high as well in the low levels. Those are 3 ingredients that are really critical for Friday's severe weather setup, and right now it appears as if this is going to be the main region to watch for on Friday, and we could see a tornado outbreak in this region. It's not impossible with how intense this trough will be, in addition to the geometry of this trough with a negatively tilted trough that's going to pull a lot of moisture out of the Gulf, in addition to a lot of unstable air across the lower Mississippi River Valley. One area that is a little bit more questionable for Friday in terms of severe weather is the Midwest, and the main reason why is because we don't really know if we're going to see enough moisture coming out of the Gulf and reaching the Midwest on Friday. If the dew points stay in the low to mid 50s, we're talking about isolated to widely scattered severe weather, but if for some reason we start to see that low level moisture trending upwards into the low to mid 60s, we could be talking about a tornado outbreak up in the Midwest as well. For now though, it does not appear as if this is going to be a significant area for severe weather. I really think down here is going to be really the main area to watch for Friday afternoon and evening. As we go into early Saturday, the storm system will continue to move north. Notice how this trough continues to stay intense. Blizzard conditions are likely across the northern plains Friday night into Saturday morning, and then we're going to see a resparking of severe weather as we go into Saturday afternoon in the Dixie Alley, and I do think a severe weather outbreak is in play on Saturday in the southeast, and then eventually as we go into the evening hours, this area of thunderstorm activity continues to march east. I don't really anticipate there being much severe weather in the Ohio Valley, as there won't be really a whole lot of moisture in those areas in terms of the dew points being high enough, leading to enough buoyancy. And then as we go into Sunday, this continues to move east. There could also be a little bit of severe weather on Sunday along the immediate east coast, but it's too uncertain at this point whether we are going to be talking about anything significant. As we go into early next week, things become a lot more uncertain, but I do think we'll have a little break in the action as we go into Monday and Tuesday of next week. One thing that is very concerning for Friday's severe weather setup is the amount of wind shear that we are going to have during the afternoon and evening hours on Friday, and this is especially going to be relevant to those in Missouri, Illinois, Arkansas, back into Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana, where a severe weather outbreak is definitely in play on Friday. The amount of wind shear is really going to be ramping in this area, a negatively tilted trough in addition to a southwesterly flow. This is a very primed environment when it comes to a severe weather risk, and these are the winds at the 850 millibar level, which are a little bit closer to the ground in comparison to what I was just showing you, which was 500 millibars. And notice how strong the winds are going to be aloft in this entire region, which means that if we actually do end up getting enough moisture out of the Gulf reaching into the Midwest, we could also see a few tornadoes in the Midwest on Friday. But honestly, I still expect this region to be the most significant area for severe weather. The winds are going to be high also across Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas behind this dry line, which will lead to a significant fire risk on Friday in Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas due to how low the moisture will be and also how high the winds are going to be. This is the instability as we go into Friday as well. This is definitely another concerning trend. A lot of instability will be available here in the deep south, which could again lead to a significant outbreak of severe weather in East Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, back into Missouri on Friday. Again, there are some things that could change as we still are several days from this event happening, but it definitely looks like this is the region that you're going to want to make sure that you are watching this storm like a hawk over the next few days. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as we'll continue to post daily updates on this, and we are almost undoubtedly going to be live on both Friday and Saturday covering this significant severe weather event that is expected. One of the biggest determining factors to how significant the severe weather event will be on Friday and Saturday will be the amount of moisture that goes into the Midwest and also across the deep south, and one thing that will control some of that is a trough that is going to be moving across the southern plains in the southeast as we go into Wednesday. This is going to be a key factor because it will pull some moisture out of the Gulf, and then eventually on the back side of that, it'll bring some of that moisture back down to the south, which will actually limit the amount of moisture that is pulled up on Friday, but it's going to depend on the intensity of that low pressure system. We don't really know yet how intense that low pressure system will be. It's not really going to be that intense, but the stronger it is, the lesser chance we basically have of that moisture reaching the Midwest as we go into Friday afternoon and evening. Notice how the European model has dew points up into the low to mid 50s in many areas in Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, and Minnesota, but honestly, these dew points are not really enough to create a severe weather outbreak because the buoyancy just isn't there. We really need dew points in the upper 50s and low 60s for this event. We may get that as we go into late Friday night in Illinois, but that's really about as far north as this significant severe weather event gets on Friday if this moisture does continue to trend in this direction. Now, this is a little bit different from yesterday. In yesterday's video, we had moisture much further off to the north. At this point, it has obviously trended further down to the south, so we're going to continue to see this back and forth, I think, for the next couple of days before eventually we know exactly where the most significant severe weather will take place. But one concerning trend is how much moisture is going to be available in the deep south on Friday and as well as we go into Saturday across the southeast, which means that we are going to have two very busy days of severe weather, and we are expected to be live on both days, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. This storm will literally bring everything, including high winds to the Great Plains on Friday. We could have wind gusts as high as 60 to 70 miles per hour just when you're waking up on Friday in New Mexico and Texas, and then as we go into the afternoon, relative humidity humidity will be dropping across the central and southern plains with very high wind gusts, which will lead to critical fire conditions, which unfortunately will be occurring across Texas, Oklahoma, and as well as Kansas. And this has nothing to do with the severe weather, by the way. These wind gusts will still be high, upwards of as high as 70 miles per hour in Oklahoma on Friday. Now keep in mind there could be some changes depending on where this trough exactly positions itself. If it's a little bit further to the north, the wind will really be down here on the south side. If it's a bit further down to the south, it'll be more impactful across parts of Texas and southern Oklahoma. Nonetheless, though, we are talking about very high winds on Friday, mostly because of how low the pressure will be. We have a very sharp pressure gradient in many areas here across the central and southern plains, which also will lead to blizzard conditions back over in the northern plains. Wind gusts will stay high into Saturday for areas like the Midwest and as well as back into the Ohio Valley. Late Saturday into early Sunday, those winds stay strong east of that line of thunderstorms as well in the southeast in areas like Virginia, the Carolinas, and even back into New England as we go into Sunday. It's too early to tell how much snowfall will come out of this storm system, but we do think there's at least a medium chance of over a half a foot of snow in the northern plains. I do anticipate these probabilities to increase over the next several days. One area that's going to see a ton of snow will be along the west coast. This is the chance of seeing over 2 feet of snow. Notice how we basically have 100% here across the Sierra Nevada, and if we go all the way up to 48 inches of snow, yes, that is a possibility, near 60 to 70% in some of those areas as we go into later this week and also into the early weekend. Once all of this is said and done, we are going to have a nice shot of cold air as we go later into this weekend, but most of those areas that are going to feel this will be back up in the Midwest and the northern plains with well below average temperatures, but even then there will be some cooler weather back over in the southern plains and even into the southeast. Generally speaking, though, we're talking about some of the warmest weather of the year so far for most areas east of the Rockies on Friday. Enjoy the warm weather. It's going to feel like spring for a day or two, and then for some of you, it's going to feel like winter again in the Midwest and the northern plains. And don't forget that our 1 million subscriber merch is still available at shopmaxvelocity.net. This is one of the best ways to support what we do here on this channel, so if you want to check this out, we have signed hats, t-shirts, mugs, and stickers still available. Check this out at shopmaxvelocity.net or the top link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you've not already.